Hi there, welcome to Unity Insights, a dedicated channel for beginners focused on teaching Unity. Today's video will be very helpful and informative if you are planning to improve your Unity UI skill. For those who are new to this channel, myself Somnath Chowdhury and I am a professional Unity developer. If you are still struggling to understand Canvas Scaler and Graphic Raycaster, then I have made a complete video with detailed explanation. Feel free to check it out. Understand pivot and anchor in UI element is crucial, especially if you are working on UI aspect in your project. Come, let's try to examine them with example. In today's video, we'll cover Rect Transform, pivot, anchor, anchor presets, resize versus scaling. We have opened our Unity and here I have only the main canvas. Now let me create some UI element. Here I'll right click UI and let me create one image. Notice here, whenever you create an UI element, okay, by default it will create a canvas and an event system, right? Now in this image, you can see there's a Rect Transform. Now for layout purpose, every UI element is like a rectangle or square. For example, here in this image, here it is a square. Let me change the color of it a little bit so that you can understand it better. Okay. Select the image, press T for transform to. Now you can see here in the center there is a circle. This is called pivot. So what pivot means? So this is a point around which this object will rotate or scale. So if I try to rotate it, now you can see it is rotating from center as my pivot point is there. Okay, let me make it 0 0 position so that you can get it better, and the rotation is 0. You can change the pivot anywhere within canvas or outside canvas. So wherever your pivot is, your object will be rotating around this point wherever your pivot is. So for example, if I'm keeping somewhere outside the canvas and press E, and if I try to rotate, now you can see it is rotating, taking this point as a center point. As I mentioned before, every UI element will have a Rect Transform component. Rect Transform is like the transform component where you will get the position, rotation and scale. But apart from that, you get a width, height, so that you can set the width of this object, UI object, or you can set the height. You can change the anchor and the pivot. So you can manipulate all of this with your UI. You can manipulate the pivot values here. As of now, 0.5 by 0.5 means it is in the middle center. If I try to change it to 0, now you can see here it is at the 0 point for this object. So for this object, this is the 0 0 point. Okay, the bottom left is the 0 0 point and top right is the 1 1 point. So if I try to make it 0 0, now you can see it is moved to bottom left. Okay, so you can manipulate this value to get your pivot at exact point, and the default value is 0.5 by 0.5, which is middle center. Now let's understand anchor. Here in this image, you can see these 4 small triangles. Right? So these are called anchors. So whenever these 4 are together, then you will get the width and height. You will be able to set. So, and whenever it is like apart, okay, so maybe you can move it somewhere here. Now you can see apart. Now the value changed. Okay, instead of width, height, now it is saying right and height. That means from right, the center point is 50 pixel away, minus 50 pixel. Okay, and by default our this image value was 100 by 100, right? Width is 100 and height is 100. So you can set your pivot anywhere. Okay, you can make it in the corner, corner. Okay. So these are called anchors. The purpose of anchor to tell the compiler to maintain the same distance. For example, as of now it is in the middle center. Now if you try to rotate, now you can see it is trying to match it up at the center point. Okay. And now you can manipulate these values with the minimum maximum. Okay. The minimum starts from 0. Okay. Let me try to make it 0. You can see. And this one 1. And again 0. And 1. So that means it is top left. If I zoom out, now you can see that my anchor moved here. Okay. So now if I try to again resize my game window, you can notice that it is maintaining the same distance from this top left point, my anchor point. That means from my top left point, it's trying to maintain the 472 pixel distance. Okay, this anchor point and this center point. It's trying to maintain the 472 pixel distance toward X and minus 266 pixel from Y. Whenever your anchors are together, then it checks for the distance from one point with the pivot. But if these anchors are separated, okay. For example, two anchors should be this side and two anchors toward the right. Then what it checks? It checks there is a padding from left and from right. Okay. Also, the height it will mention here. So you can see there's a padding from left is 422 and 422. Let me change the resolution so you get to know. Okay. So now you can see it is stretched. My image got stretched, but it's maintaining 422 pixel from left. Okay. Let me try to make it even small. Let's see 100 and even from right 100. Now you can see from right side 100 pixel gap, left side 100 pixel gap. Okay, from Y position to 66 pixel, that also let me make it 100 so that you get to know there is a 100 pixel distance from Y side and it's mentioning the height as 100 pixel. Okay, that means your image will be stretched with padding. For easy calculation purpose, Unity has provided us few anchor presets. Now if you click on this icon, you can see there are these anchor presets. Okay, by default it goes to middle center. So here you can see there is a top, middle, bottom. Here also left, center, right, and we have a stretch, different stretch. Okay, we'll understand it better. Let me hide it and create one panel. So panel is nothing but it's kind of a folder where you keep all your files, and whenever you move your folder, all the files will move together, right? So panel works something like that. So here panel, you can see there is a rect transform with stretch both side, and there's an image component. There's nothing much with a half alpha, and there is a background image. What we can do, we can make this panel. So if we want to create some panel where from left side it will be like 100 or 500 pixel, and within that there will be our left side UI. Okay, what we'll do, we'll select this one. Okay, left stretch, and we will change our X position, maybe width, let's say 500, and of course the position should be 0. Now you can see there is an anchor in the center. Okay, so what we can do here, we already have an option. If you click here, first click, it selects the anchor, right? It selects the preset, anchor preset. If you click, if you press shift button, now you can see there is a dot comes in every preset. If you press shift and select this one, now your pivot got changed. You can see here your pivot got changed for this panel. I mean whichever UI element is there. Now again, if you press Alt, Okay, you can see here also if it is shift as per also set pivot, all set pivot by all pressing alt. Now press alt button and press the same thing. Now you can see it automatically fits here with the 0 point. Okay. Now we'll try to create some more UI element inside this. Let's say one text editor. Okay. For this panel, this is the text editor in the middle center it comes. Now you can change it to anywhere. Probably we'll set top and alt. Okay, I can see it here. So let's say heading, and also we'll try to create some more UI. Okay, let's see one image. Okay, and that image, let's see. Try to select some image. Okay, let's see this. Okay, some image. That's not a big deal. And we can set this pivot again at the top, right, and alt. So now it is at the same point. Now what we'll do, manually we'll put some distance minus 100. Okay, and width, if we set, if you want to make it full stretch, you can go for this stretch. Okay, now left side it got 200 pixel gap, and right side you can see is a 200 pixel gap. Okay. So what we'll do, we press shift and press this one, and then alt press this one. Now you can see it got stretched, but again the Y position manually we need to change like this. Okay, let's change some color purpose, and this also will try to move it little down, so probably maybe 50 minus 50 or maybe minus 30 something. Okay, so now the panel is here. What happens whenever you move the panel from one point to another point? Okay, let's say if I press W and try to move, now you can see all the UI elements within this panel are also moving. Okay, same like folder. Whenever you move any object, all the all the assets inside that folder will get moved. Okay, so you can set your panel like this, where you will be having all your UI element in the left side, your interactivity, or you can set it up. In Unity, whenever you create an UI element, for layout purpose, as we mentioned, it is comes as a rectangle. So let's say we'll try to duplicate the image, okay, and we'll try to put it little down and change the color to something else, probably this. Now you can see whichever is at the bottom, it will come in the front, okay, the foreground layer. So this image is background because this image is behind this. Similarly, the text, if you try to drag it down, so it will go behind the red image. Okay. So this is how the order gets set for UI. Now let's try to understand resize versus scaling. Whenever you hold an object, okay, UI object, you get this resize option, right? Where in these four dots, okay, you can click and drag to resize the object. What happens here? Only your right and height, this will get changed. Your scaling will not change. Okay. So if I try to create one, probably UI and a text. Okay. So this text is within this. Now if I try to hold the image and try to resize it, now you can see my text value is not changing. I mean the font size of text, only we are changing the image width and height. Okay, in this case image right and height, whatever. But if you try to scale it, so press R and scale it, now you can see along with this image the text is also getting scaled, right? So that's the difference between scaling and resizing. Thank you for watching this video till the end. I hope you got some insight about Rect Transform component, pivot, anchor presets, and resize versus scaling, and I'm able to explain them with examples. Now, based on your requirement, you can place and arrange your UI for your project. For any doubt or question related to these topics, please comment down below or send me your query via email, which is displaying on the screen. If you need any mentorship or guidance from me, then please book a one-on-one call. The link is displaying on the screen as well as mentioned in the description. See you in the next video. Till then, keep learning.